It's Jay Ribs, professional analyst for Rise, and I'm here with the professional Gears team for Rise. We are going into Split 2 Pro League. Our very first match is later on today, and we're going to talk about some of the changes and some of the updates that's happened over the offseason. And of course, you could have an update with all of the players, the roster, the guys that you love to watch and root on. And of course, we're going to start with Fran, the captain, longest standing member for Gears esports in general. You're like the longest veteran in all of Gears esports right now, one of the most storied players, my favorite captain of all time. And my question to you is 4v4 is back. You played 4v4 plenty of times before Gears 4 came out and obviously Gears 5. How is the team adapting to 4v4? And personally, are you happy that we're playing 4v4 again?
Personally, I mean, I really enjoy 4v4. I never felt like 5v5 was quite Gears. It definitely changed a lot of different aspects of Gears. But going back to it, it's definitely, a good thing. It's making a lot of more teams competitive. Um, it makes it a little bit easier for, teammates to communicate with each other. And you also have to rely on one less person. So there's just a lot of benefits to 4v4. And I've been enjoying going through some maps and seeing how versatile we can be with just four people, how we communicate with each other, in and outside the game, as far as like when we go into maps, before maps, post maps, between rounds. It's just a lot easier. It's There's a lot of information when you play 5v5 that just kind of losing that one person is not just on your team but on the other team, watching lanes, things like that. It's just all kind of comes together, and it's played out nice so far.
And real quick, I'm going to go to you, Coach Affinity, Chris. He talked about communication. You think 4v4 communication, it's clearer comms overall, and I think a lot of Gears teams need that. How have you liked the comms so far for this roster in 4v4s?
So it's definitely easier for everyone to have their voice heard. There's not as much talking over people. But the other hard thing about it is that with one less person on the map, you have less vision of everything, less lane coverage. So while it's easier to communicate well with each other, it's also harder to infer all the information on the map.
Got you. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. For you, Avexes, the longest standing player on Rise. You've been on Rise for a very long time. Huge content creator. I bet you have more fans than all of us right now in Gears Esports because all those YouTube videos you put out. I just want to talk to you about the meta of the power weapons right now. You know, Dropshot got nerfed, and in the previous major, Dropshot was put down by pretty much every single Gears team. Now we're seeing more M-Bar and Torque Bow and Sniper Rifles, and I know you're one of the best. You might be a little humble on here, but I'm going to say you're probably one of the best power weapon players. You have been for a long time. How have you liked the meta, and which power weapon you've been using the most that you've been having fun with?
I'm actually really liking this meta because I feel like the precision weapons take a lot more skill. So that's going to be displayed more. And this team is full of very good power weapon players, so it's going to work out for us. Also, like, it just feels like it's going to keep on being a little bit OP right now just because everybody's hitting every single shot and the game slowed down too. So just getting used to that as well. So but in all though, like the meta's clean. It's real clean. It plays out pretty well with us. And we're going to continue to shine through it.
So I got to piggyback on that answer, though. You said everybody right now is hitting their shots, and you said that's because the movement's been slower. I know some pro players say that the aim assist is kind of tuned the wrong way. Do you hope that there's going to be some changes with the power weapons? Because a player like you wants to excel over the rest, and right now everybody looks good with an M-bar in their hands. Is that an issue?
Yeah, it's just a little bit of an issue because it doesn't take as much skill as it should. The aim assist is kind of broken right now, just like with support weapons in general, including the power weapons. So people are hitting a lot more like just shots, and it being slower. Obviously, it's gonna be easier to hit, easier to track people like that. So yeah, it is what it is for now. But I hope there is some changes coming through.
Yeah, I mean, we have 5 weeks of Pro League. I'm sure there'll be updates here and there, but it's going to be exciting stuff for sure. So one of the biggest changes with Escalation from the previous major was now that you respawn with unlimited lives, you could always go back into a fight, always try to save that 3-cap from, stop that 3-cap from happening. Rushies, you're a player that does rack up a lot of deaths. You're a high-risk, high-reward player. There are some maps that you have the best stats. Do you prefer to not have to worry about your amount of respawns, or do you feel like all these other players are getting away with murder now because they don't have to worry about their respawns? Which way would you rather have it?
To be honest, they're just getting away with murder. Like, I'm not a fan of limited respawns myself because it just gives these players who don't know what they're doing like extra chances to come back in a round and win that round that they don't deserve.
All right,
Literally
man.
like what you said, it's come around murder.
Yeah, I mean, we played throughout Gears 4. You and I were teammates in Gears 4, and that's how it was in that game. You respawn as many times as you
Yep.
want. And how many times did it happen? You win 3-4 fights in a round, and escalation's annoying because you lose that final fight, and all of a sudden you get 3 capped. And
Yep.
I mean, but it's still fun at the same time. You don't have to worry about that. But that's gone. That's a big change. That's something that people are gonna have to pay attention to in these matches going forward. And lastly, Icy, multi-champion, good friend. For you, I'm gonna give you the best question, because I mean I know you're a brutally honest player. You speak your mind. A lot of people love that about you. What do you think right now? What's the state of Gears esports ever since we entered this online era? No more LAN events. Every player is sitting in the comfort of their home. What do you have to say right now about that aspect of Gears?
I mean, to be honest, man, just like you said, like online, like everybody's so good at the game. It makes you like be the best that you can be, like at all times, which is a little bit different than what it used to be. Typically, like online would be used like just like kind of as practice, but now it's like it is literally war like 24/7, every scrim, every tournament, every round. It's honestly like annoying almost. Like everybody and every single team is so good that if you're not playing at the best of your ability, you're just not going to win.
I mean, for the fans, they love that. The competition is more on an even playing field. But like you said, it's annoying. You don't want to have to go against the 8th seeded team and you still worried about losing to them just because they're so good in their bedroom. Fran, what do you have to say about that? Do you miss LAN? Do you wish we still had LAN? I know the answer is yes, but why do you miss LAN so much?
I mean, honestly, it's just when people are in their bedroom and playing at home and playing online, they're just so comfortable in what they do. They're so perfect that we say this all the time. I mean, perfect players. And then they get to LAN and they hear someone screaming in their face. They hear the trash talk. They feel the trash talk. They feel that pressure of someone watching them, and they immediately go back to their bad habits. Switching to the wrong weapon, hiding, not communicating. People will not communicate on LAN versus online. Online, they'll say every word.
Right.
They'll get to LAN and they'll get quiet, can't call out, and let their teammates get flanked. I mean, there's a lot of different aspects to LAN that you can't replicate online. And like Icy said, he hit it spot on. I mean, so many teams right now are just so perfect online. So it does suck that we can't play on LAN, but hopefully we could in the future.
Yeah, I mean, in the future, we have to hope. I mean, UMG, the coalition, all the TOs, whoever's in charge, eventually, stuff will pan out, and we'll be able to play offline again. And for players like yourselves, such good LAN players, I know you guys will be looking forward to that. And lastly, Affinity, coach of the roster. I mean, this is a pretty simple question, but it could be a loaded question too. What does the team have to improve on? We have 5 weeks before the mid-split invitational. It's like a major between the two splits going into the next major. What is this roster, this 4v4 roster, what do we have to improve on?
So ever since we started playing again after the break and the transition to 4v4, we haven't been performing that well. We got first rounded a lot in the E-days, and I think at first just kind of everything was going wrong, but we've gotten a lot better. We're starting to figure out the initial and mid-round strategies for 4v4, getting a really good handle on that. As we start to flesh all that stuff out, I think the thing we need to work on most is just the way we communicate in game and the decisions we make based off of that communication. When we're calling things out and predicting the other team's movements based on the information we do have, we tend to always stay on top of things, and our teamwork is on point, and nobody makes any uneducated decisions. But whenever there's lapses in our communication, or we get frustrated by something that happens, because the game is so frustrating online, it's ridiculous. Whenever there's a lapse like that, it costs you so quick in this game. So really, for me, it's just communication and our ability to adapt correctly to all the different looks teams are going to throw at us.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, who do you think needs to lead the charge on this roster when it comes to communication?
As the leader, Fran is definitely going to be the one that's going to rally the team, but everybody has a part to play in it.
All right. That makes sense, and that's something. I mean, you guys are listening. Make sure that we're working on that, of course. And to end up the interview, when it comes to shout-outs, I know you guys all have your personal shout-outs. Of course, Rise, Gears Esports, the Coalition, UMG. Thank you so much for putting this on. But there's two players in particular, Avexis and Icy. You guys have been pushing your YouTube game, your content game. I want you guys to go ahead. Avexis first. If you want to shout out your channel, talk about your videos coming out. You guys have been doing such a great job, and the community really needs that. Go ahead.
Most of you guys already know, man. My channel is literally just my gamer tag. Simple as that. It's Avexis. You guys can follow me up. Everything, all of my social medias are just Avexis. So you guys already know. I post tips, tutorials, there's a gameplay, and I just talk to you guys. So if you guys have any questions, you want to get better at the game in any other way, let me know.
And Nick?
Yeah, I just recently started taking YouTube more seriously, but it's been growing a lot. I just passed 7,000 subscribers, so I'm pretty happy about that. It's youtube.com/RedIcyHD, and like the big focus on my channel is trying to help people get better at the game, and I feel like I'm doing that. So I actually enjoy it, and I think a lot of people do too.
And to actually end the interview, Fran, what do you have to say to the fans rooting us on? I mean, Pro League starts this week. There's going to be plenty of matches for the people to watch. Any encouragement to these players? I mean, to the fans, and are you feeling confident? Can you kind of relay that confidence to the fans? Just let me know how you're feeling going into Pro League.
The one thing I'll say to all Rise fans is just be a little patient with us. Like off rip at the very beginning of this 4v4 adventure. We were kind of late to the party, and we took a little bit of a break, but kind of how Chris said, right about now is when we're starting to catch on a few things that we needed to learn. I guess a while back, and it's just right in time. We've been performing a lot better in scrims, and in tournaments too. So like I said, just be patient. We're right there. We have all the skill in the world in this team. We have the leadership, the communication. We have the strategy. It's all there, and we're putting it together. So I'm definitely confident going into the this Pro League and future events.
All right, that's going to be all for us. Thank you for your time, everybody here. And of course, everybody watching at home, enjoy the matches. It's going to be a fun split of Pro League, a lot of Gears action, a lot of new changes. And have a good one.